Okay, I think we're on. We might be on, who knows? So I'll just go ahead and start out. I'm sorry I missed last week. I had to take a family member to the doctor. She's fine, and everything's fine now that she's got meds and everything she needs. So it's all good. It worked out really well considering that last week was a short week, so it would have been hard to get today's episode together in time anyway. So I may do this again after the 4th, but we shall see. But hello, and welcome to Tea and New Book Tuesday. I think I'm on. I mean, they're showing pictures of me, so that does imply that I'm on. Today, we are going to talk about July yellow labels. So mysteries, thriller, and suspense. And I've also got a couple of nonfiction I threw in here too. You guys, there are so many books coming out in July, and there are so many of them are yellow labels. I don't know what's up with the mystery reading crowd that you're like, sun's out, murder's out. But I'm only going to tease you with love because I'm a horror fan. So, you know, horror is not just, or is for all the time, not just for Halloween, as far as I'm concerned. But we're going to start off with the giveaway that I've been doing, which I feel like has been pretty well received. And I really like it because it means that I can get these out to you within like the next day or so. And then I can spend the rest of the week worrying about the next episode and getting it together. So the rules for the giveaway are, I'm going to explain the books I'm giving away. I'm giving away 4 copies of 3 different titles. And if you want any of these books, put in the comments the name of the book and the MPL location you want for pickup. I really need you to put in the MPL location for pickup. It gets it to you faster. I promise. It's part of the rules. Really want you to do that. Not looking at anybody in particular. Just saying. Put your location in there. Okay. And so whoever puts the title in first, and you can only put in one, gets the book. If you're seeing this live, you probably have the best shot at getting your choice of titles. If you're seeing this recorded, I have had leftover books most week. A few titles go right away, and then nobody asks for anything after that. You may want to check the comments, because if something doesn't get given away by the end of today, I may add it in the comments that that book is still available. So you'll know if you're watching this on Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, that you still can ask for that book and have it set aside for you. So our 3 titles are, beginning with Ruby Falls by Deborah Goodrich Royce, which I have 2 copies of. And this appears to be the actual book instead of the ARC. But Ruby Falls is about Ruby, who was abandoned by her father at the age of 6. Years later, she lost her Plum soap opera role under dubious circumstances. So she flees to Europe because she's able to do that. And there she meets and falls in love with a handsome stranger named Orlando. But when she marries him and returns to LA, she realizes he may have secrets too, and his may be darker than hers. So this is considered an homage to Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. I think it came out in May, maybe a month ago. So 2 people are going to get Ruby Falls if there are 2 people that want it. The next book is The Cleaner by Mark Dawson. I think this also came out in May. The date on the book is May 4th. This is an ARC. And my tea today is Twinings English Breakfast, which I haven't had in a while, but I really am enjoying. Okay. So The Cleaner is about John Milton. He is a cleaner for the British government. This means they send him in when all diplomacy and normal efforts fail and the target needs to be eliminated. But after 10 years of being an assassin for the government, he wants to walk away from this, except this isn't the kind of job you just walk away from. So he has to go on the run. Along the way, he's going to help people he meets in the streets of London, including a single mother who believes she's lost her son to a life of crime. This is a new series, and it's going to be about this character, about John Milton, the ex-assassin who is trying to atone for his sins. So that's The Cleaner. And the last book I'm giving away is Dead of Winter by Stephen Mac Jones. This is book 3 in the August Snow series. In this book, August Snow is invited to a sit down with the head of Authentico Foods. Authentico Foods is not a large corporate business. It's actually a neighborhood business in August's home neighborhood in Detroit, which is Mexico Town. It started as a single kitchen operation, but has thrived in the community for 30 years. But now the owner is dying and he's being blackmailed. And a blackmailer wants him to sell his business to an anonymous developer. So it looks like real estate developers are trying to push into the neighborhood and gentrify. So finding out who's behind the blackmail could help August save his neighborhood. If you're interested in any of these, that's Dead of Winter, any of these 3 titles, go ahead and put the name of the book below and in the comments, and then the location for pickup, and I will send it as soon as I see the comment. I'll watch for comments right after the show, so I'll try to do some before noon, and I'll try to check in again later this afternoon. So let's go ahead and share the screen. Get back to Zoom, and I'm going to share my screen. I just want to share. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm getting it. Let me pull this out of the way. Hit present. So let's start with our 2 nonfiction titles, which I thought looked interesting. So it's nice to do true crime with yellow labels whenever I can find it. They aren't always, I don't know what their season is for true crime. I don't know when it comes out, but we have 2 this month. Couple Found Slain After a Family Murder by Mika Brotman. This is sort of about Brian Bethold, who in 1992 turned himself in. He walked into the police station and admitted that he had killed his parents. He believed he was possessed by the devil. He would actually be diagnosed for schizophrenia and found not criminally responsible for the crime. That means instead of being sent to prison, he was sent to a maximum security psychiatric hospital. So he's not technically imprisoned, but obviously he cannot leave. During the next 3 decades, he would attempt to escape and be shot. He witnessed patient-on-patient murder. He would be subjected to excess drugging by the staff and more things that the outside world wouldn't otherwise know about. The truth of our psychiatric hospitals is more One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest than people probably realize, especially considering how long ago a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was and how recent these events are. Early readers are giving this book positive reviews, and if you're interested in Couple Found Slain, it comes out July 6th. Next up, there we go. The Case of the Murderous Dr. Crean, The Hunt for a Victorian-Era Serial Killer by Dean Job. So Dr. Crean poisoned at least 10 people in the US, Britain, and Canada. He was brought to justice, and the book centers around the information that came out through his trial. This was the birth of modern police techniques, especially the scientific ones, and that helped convict him, but at the time, the police sort of scoffed at these things. They thought that that was not real police work for whatever reason. It's also the emergence of the idea of a serial killer, which wasn't common in people's minds and certainly wasn't common even in the police's minds at that time. Is being recommended for fans of The Devil in the White City. If you're interested in The Case of the Murderous Dr. Crean, it comes out July 13th. All right, let's get into our yellow labels, mysteries, thrillers, and suspense. Here we go. Choose Me by Tess Gertizan and Gary Braver. when a college senior dies because she seems to have fallen from her balcony, a lot of the investigators think it might be suicide. Detective Frankie Loomis isn't so sure. The girl was pregnant and secretly having an affair with her English professor. Now, the professor simply may know more about her life and her secrets, or he might be covering up something much darker, like cold-blooded murder. We are also buying this in large print. If you're interested in Choose Me, it comes out July 1st. Okay, For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. I really like the description of this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it straight out. US Today bestselling author Samantha Downing is back with her latest sneaky thriller set in a prestigious private school, complete with interfering parents, overeager students, and one teacher who just wants to teach them all a lesson. The early readers have given this a 4.11 stars on Goodreads, which is really high. I think this was the one that was published in Britain already. So there's like thousands of ratings and reviews on Goodreads. So if you want a sense of whether or not it's for you, you might want to click on the link in the Teen New Book Tuesday group and then go see what everybody's had to say about it. It's overwhelmingly positive. But if you're interested in For Your Own Good, it comes out July 20th. All right, The Temple House Vanishing by Rachel Donahue. So 25 years ago, a 16-year-old student and her art teacher disappeared. She was a student and he was a teacher at an elite Catholic girls' school. Years later, a journalist uncovers the case and starts to investigate it. In the process, she also uncovers the school's troubled past and the pair's fate. The Temple House Vanishing is a stunning, intensely atmospheric novel of unrequited longing, dark obsession, and uneasy consequences. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly. If you're interested in The Temple House Vanishing, it comes out July 6th. A lot of this stuff is either, there were so many yellow labels that the way I narrowed them down was essentially, it had to either be probably going to be on the new book flyer, which means our librarians think that Mobilians are going to enjoy it, or it has a bunch of star reviews. And I think there's stuff that meets that qualification in what the titles that got eliminated, simply because there were just so many this month. It was just insane. Our next up, we've got The Stranger Behind You by Carol Goodman. So it took Joan 3 years to get the article published that she worked on, which exposed a newspaper tycoon as a sexual predator. But the evening before the article is published, she's attacked. Naturally, she's deeply affected by this and decides to take shelter in a highly secure building in Manhattan called The Refuge. In The Refuge, she meets a 96-year-old woman who's lived there since it was a home for fallen women. As she starts to get to know this woman, she realizes there are parallels between their stories. As Joan starts to connect the clues and unravel decades worth of history, she must stay one step ahead of those who are desperate to make sure Joan never uncovers the final truth. This got a starred review from Publishers Weekly. If you're interested in The Stranger Behind You, it comes out July 6th. A lot of stuff is coming out July 6th. Okay. Let me get a drink of my tea, and I'll tell you about Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. Okay. Ike has been out of jail for 15 years when he gets news that his son and his son's husband have been murdered. This is presumably when he meets Buddy Lee, who was never fully able to accept his gay son, and whom Ike would have known, they would have known each other as in-laws because Buddy's son is Ike's son's husband. You get where I'm going with that. But now that their sons have been murdered, Ike and Buddy, who are both ex-cons, are determined to do better for them in death than they did for them in life. and are planning to hunt down the killer and enact revenge. It's described as a provocative and fast-paced. It is a story of bloody retribution, heartfelt change, and maybe even redemption. This got a starred review from Kirkus. They do not give it a ton of positive reviews, and they don't give out a ton of star reviews, but they liked it. And if you're interested in the Razorblade Tears, it comes out July 6th with just everything else. Okay. The Lost Girls by Jessica Chiarella. So Marty's sister disappeared when they were kids. She doesn't remember it super well. She knows her sister got into a car and then she never saw her again. She's failed to move on, as any protagonist in any novel would. And she's done so in several unconstructive ways, like drinking and sabotaging her relationships, but she's also decided to start a podcast where she chronicles her investigation, her search for answers. The podcast is a sudden hit, and it connects Marty with Ava. Ava has spent years trying to overturn her brother's conviction. I believe her brother was convicted of manslaughter or murder. She believes that he's innocent, and she thinks there's a connection between the case, and from her perspective, presumably the real killer, and Marty's sister's case. So together, Marty and Ava embark on a quest for the truth, but the more Marty digs, the more she's shaken by the answers she might find and what it is she's even searching for. This got a starred review from both Library Journal and Publishers Weekly. So if you're interested in The Lost Girls, it comes out July 6th. Falling. Okay. Oh, I was going to tell you, I meant to tell you guys this forever, and I just forgot. I have a podcast. It is not with the library. It is my own thing, but it is with another one of the librarians who's here, or who used to work at Maine and now works at West, whose name is Carly. It's called Grown Up Book Report. We're now, I think, on all the places where you get podcasts. And again, because it's not for the library, it is for adults and does include foul language. Fair warning. But we alternate reading each other's books. So for the first episode, Carly had me read Winter's Bone by Daniel Woodrell. And for the second episode, I had her read The Shining by Stephen King. And then the most recent episode, she had me read Joe by Larry Brown. And in 2 weeks, I'll put up the episode where I had her read The Exorcist, which I love and she did not enjoy. So yeah, if you were interested in that at all, Grown Up Book Report is on all the podcasting surfaces, podcasting platforms. Okay, so Falling by T.J. Newman has such a good description that I can't improve on it, especially because it's really short. So as much fun as I know it is not to sit and watch me read from a page, I'm going to have to read it to you verbatim. All right. You've just boarded a flight to New York. There are 143 other passengers aboard. What you don't know is that 30 minutes before the flight, your pilot's family was kidnapped. For his family to live, everyone on your plane must die. The only way the family will survive is if the pilot follows his orders and crashes the plane. Enjoy the flight. This got starred reviews from Booklist, Publishers Weekly, and Library Journal. This is, when you get that many starred reviews, I think they probably get added to a list to be considered for one of the best books of the year because of that much response. So yeah, I think this is definitely one to watch and put on hold. Yeah. The little blurbs on the cover are from James Patterson saying it is a nonstop thriller, and from Don Winslow saying it is stunning. It's Jaws at 3,500 feet or 35,000 feet. So if you are interested in Falling, it comes out July 6th. I think of all the ones that's coming out, there's a couple from today's show that I actually would think about reading. Falling is the one that's really standing out to me, though. Okay. Oh, I have to change the page. We have to move on so you can see the next cover. All right. Steel Fear by Brandon Webb and John David Mann. This is the other one I think looks really interesting. mostly because my dad was in the Navy and he's talked about being, out at sea for 6 months and what that was like, which it's very difficult. It just is. So this book is about Navy SEAL sniper Finn. He's headed home on the USS Abraham Lincoln in disgrace. In his last assignment, he may have harmed some civilians. It's not clear because he's got a lot of gaps in his memory. He does know that the mission went wrong, horribly wrong. But as soon as he gets on the Lincoln, he finds there are things there that are horribly wrong. Most notably, the leadership is weak, morale is non-existent, and sailors are disappearing. At first, it seems like a string of suicides, which, by the way, do happen on aircraft carriers. When they're out to sea for months at a time, it's a big issue. There's, it's the isolation and all sorts of things. But in the case of this story, it turns out there is a serial killer on board. Everyone immediately thinks it's Finn. He is a sniper. He has killed people before. And again, he's going home in disgrace, possibly having hurt some civilians. So Finn naturally needs to go look for this killer because he wants to know, and it's a possibility of redemption, but also, it's not him. And he's going to kind of need to prove it's not him if he wants to not end up spending the rest of his life in prison. So finding the killer offers a chance at redemption if he can stay alive long enough to prove it isn't him. This got a starred review. Not kidding. A lot of them have starred reviews this week. I've explained what a starred review is before, haven't I? I have. Maybe? Possibly? Just in case I haven't. There's tons of reviews in these publications that librarians read, and we read the reviews and sort of determine from there whether or not we're going to buy the book. And obviously we pay attention to both positive and negative reviews because we're looking for at least a few positive reviews before we're going to buy the book. But a star review is not just a positive review. It's a book coming out that publication wants to highlight as especially good. So that last book that had like 3 star reviews, that's really significant. This one got a star review from Publishers Weekly. If you're interested in Steel Fear, it comes out July 13th. Okay. I'm not going to go into the description of this one, but I want you guys to know it's coming out because, again, there's a lot of critical acclaim, and I think if you're interested in this, you're going to be interested in it. This is Rochesters Ghost by Lindsay Marcotte, is a modern retelling of Jane Eyre set on the California coast. It got a starred review from Library Journal and comes out July 13th. All right. Fierce Little Thing by Miranda Beverly Whitmore. So 5 adults are being blackmailed to return to the commune where they once shared a deep friendship and a horror that split them apart. I'm not sure how to pronounce this character's name, so I'm going to wing it, but it's spelled Saskia. Saskia? She was a damaged, lonely teenager when she arrived at home, the commune in question. And there she found a charismatic leader and also 4 best friends who were also lonely teens themselves. 2 decades later, Saskia is sheltering herself from the world, but it's not really working. And she's being blackmailed to return to home. From vastly different lives, the 5 return to confront their blackmailer and reckon with the horror that split them apart. How far will they go to bury their secret forever? This got a starred review from Kirkus. If you're interested in Fierce Little Thing, it comes out July 27th. And that's it for this week. Do not forget to let me know if you want one of these 3 titles. Whether you're watching live or later, and what MPL location you'd like for pickup. Join us on our Goodreads group. I link all of the books I'm talking about today on that group, so you can always go and look and see what I've talked about and go to a description of it and decide whether or not that's something you want and maybe put it on your to be read list. You can also, I also put the titles I'm considering for next week up, usually Wednesday or Thursday. So you can see in advance what's coming up next week. Next week's probably going to be historical fiction and romance. I haven't quite decided yet, but that tends to be the way these things are going. And of course, we have our newsletter. Sign up for that in the description below if you haven't already. Thank you, guys. I will see you next week. But first, I have to deal with the technology that lets me escape. I don't need to talk about my experience with Canva because I'm doing stuff. And that was nothing. Am I not in a meeting? Have you lied to me? It's acting like I'm not in a meeting, which would be very disappointing as I'm, talking to you. And it also might mean I have to redo the whole thing again. Why? Why? But what? Okay. Okay. Feel free to go ahead and abandon me because I don't know what's going on. If I hit stop share, will it come up? That's what it is. Okay. I found it. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.